Thank you, Chairman Scott. Mr. Traynor, you are President Trump's nominee to lead HUD's Office of Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity, responsible for continuing the legacy of civil rights enforcement in housing. So I'd like to ask you a few basic questions. In a now infamous Dear Colleague letter, you wrote about the, quote, false premise that the United States is built upon systemic and structural racism. Mr. Traynor, in your view, have Black Americans historically faced systemic housing discrimination in this country?
Today on Capitol Truth, we're diving into a heated Senate exchange that's sparking conversations across America. Senator Werno took President Trump's HUD nominee to task over deep-rooted housing discrimination in the U.S. What followed was a powerful clash over the meaning of civil rights, systemic racism, and the very role of government in protecting fair housing for all. This isn't just a confirmation hearing, it's a showdown over truth and justice in the American housing system. Before we break this down, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a moment where politics meets real life.
Thank you for the question, Senator. There is no doubt about the horrid conditions that our fellow Black Americans were subjected to in the Jim Crow South, and the Civil Rights Acts were not passed in a vacuum. They were addressing very real, deplorable conditions.
But, I don't want to interrupt you, but do you agree that they also experienced it in the North, throughout this country, not just in the South?
Yes, Senator, that's undeniable. Of course.
Thank you. Please continue.
So at the end of the day, I have dedicated my career to vindicating the civil rights and the constitutional rights of all Americans, and I take a backseat to no one in my commitment to this. And as I indicated in my statement, I had made it a priority to do appointed criminal defense work so I can represent indigent criminal defendants who did not have the resources to hire an attorney and get zealous representation. And I represented them through the gambit, many of whom were Black Americans, Hispanic, men, women, and as I mentioned, even children. The commonality there is they didn't have the resources and they were vulnerable, and I advocated zealously for them, and
So I take it that you may be making the argument that it's class and not race. Is that the point you're making?
No, I'm saying all Americans are entitled to have their constitutional rights protected.
Let me ask you, what did you mean when you said the false premise that the United States is built upon systemic and structural racism?
Senator, as much as I would like to discuss that Dear Colleague letter is been enjoined by a federal court, it's under litigation.
So let me ask you this: do you believe Black Americans still experience the consequences of that historic discrimination today?
Senator, I do believe that in a country this size, there is still discrimination invidious against Black Americans and others, yes.
Do you believe that Black Americans and other minorities continue to face systemic housing discrimination in this country today, and that still warrants federal oversight and enforcement?
Senator, the Fair Housing Act is very clear that race is a protected class, and if somebody has an invidious discriminatory intent and denying a Black American the ability to transact in the housing market, that is illegal, and we will vigorously enforce it.
So intent is the premise upon which you would prosecute this or pursue it. Do you think it warrants federal oversight and enforcement?
Senator Werno wasn't here for vague acknowledgments. He wanted accountability. If you're watching and you believe accountability matters, tap that subscribe button now.
Do you think it warrants federal enforcement and oversight?
Do I think that yes, if we have a complaint alleging discriminatory actions, it violates the law, we're going to vigorously enforce
You speak of complaints as if they're a rare thing. Are you aware of the amount of appraisal bias that we deal with in this country? Is that an issue at all on your radar screen?
I understand there are complaints as to appraisal value bias, yes.
What are your thoughts? Do you think that's myth, that people are making it up? Do you think the data supports that we have a real problem, something that the chairman and I have discussed, and around appraisal bias? Because this is critical. This is literally money out of people's pockets. Like, this is real wealth.
Senator, as I said in my statement, discrimination under the Fair Housing Act is not only illegal, it is morally reprehensible. And if that is happening, we're going to enforce the law and see that justice is done by individual
I
Americans.
can assure you that appraisal bias is happening. Are you aware of the 34,000 fair housing complaints filed last year?
Senator, I'm not in the building, so I can't speak to specifics.
Do you believe HUD has a legal obligation under the Fair Housing Act to try and reduce, if not eliminate, the housing discrimination that Black Americans and other minority groups have faced in this country for decades?
Senator, I can commit to you that if confirmed as the next Assistant Secretary for Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity, I will vigorously enforce the Fair Housing Act for all Americans.
I would hope so. We would be counting on that to happen. Honestly, based on your history, I'm not convinced of that, and I'm going to strongly encourage my colleagues to oppose your nomination. Thank you so much.
Senator Werno hit hard. What did you mean by that? The trainer tried to dodge, citing ongoing litigation. But Werno wasn't having it. He pressed. Do you believe Black Americans still face the consequences of historical discrimination today? The trainer admitted that discrimination exists, but kept walking a fine line, never fully embracing the reality of systemic housing injustice. Let us know in the comments. Do you think systemic housing discrimination is still real today? And of course, if this segment has you thinking, subscribe for more deep dives like this. One of the most gripping moments came when Senator Werno brought up appraisal bias. In this practice, homes owned by Black families are undervalued compared to similar homes owned by white families. Werno didn't just talk numbers. He spoke wealth, justice, and reality. The trainer said he was aware of the issue, but didn't offer strong details. Werno snapped back with cold, hard facts. Over 34,000 housing complaints last year alone. That's not just a statistic. That's families, livelihoods, and dreams being stolen. Hit that subscribe button if you believe housing justice should be more than just a talking point. On screen, split screen of trainers speaking about indigent defense and Senator Werno's reaction. The trainer tried shifting the conversation, bringing up his past defending poor clients of all races. But Werno didn't let that fly. He cut to the heart of the matter. Are you saying this is about class, not race? The trainer tried to straddle both worlds, but Werno made clear. This isn't just poverty. This is policy. This is prejudice. This is protection denied based on race. And if you've made it this far, you care about what's going on in America. So do us a favor, subscribe right now and stay informed. As the hearing wrapped up, Senator Werno delivered one of the most pointed lines of the day. Honestly, based on your history, I'm not convinced. And I'm going to strongly encourage my colleagues to vote against your confirmation. This wasn't just political theater. This was a litmus test for the soul of American housing policy. Will we confront our history, or will we keep pretending it doesn't shape the present? The fight for fair housing isn't over. It's alive in hearings like this, and it's alive in every family searching for a home they can afford, free of bias and discrimination. Make your voice count. Like this video, drop a comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more raw, unfiltered political analysis that matters.